Welcome to the $1 Million Multi-Op Podcast. Here, you're going to find education, entertainment, and a little inspiration on how to get to the next level. Are you a DJ company owner that's looking for the secret sauce? Congrats, you found it.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the $1 Million Multi-Op Podcast. I'm your host, David Osborne, with BlueprintLearn.com. On the podcast today, we have my friend from the other side of the coast, actually experiencing possibly even an earthquake as we speak, none other than KC Campbell. Welcome, KC.
Let's go! Woo, 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 woo. Yes. Thank you for that glorious round of applause. Let's go.
And was it or was it not a sound effect? We will never know. Well, you will know. They will never know. KC, what'd you say? You wanted as many sound effects as possible, right?
That's right. Let's spice it up, baby.
Boom.
Perfect.
I love it. Okay, so if you're on the West Coast, particularly the Southern California region of the world, you're probably familiar with KC's company, Vox DJs, and they are a force to be reckoned with. I know from watching from the other side of the country and knowing KC that he's doing some big things. He's been doing big things, and I'm excited to have you on the show today so we can kind of dig in and talk about all kinds of stuff. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Monday. I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready for the week.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You're West Coast, so you're in the morning. I'm in the afternoon. I like it.
Yep. I'm recharged, David, because I got a nice 3-hour surf session on Saturday as the sun was setting. And it really recharged me going into my Sunday, my recharge day. Beautiful night down in Orange County. Waves
were surf sesh.
Waves were 3 to 5 feet, David. I got a couple good ones. Life is good.
I've never been surfing. You should teach me.
We will teach you. It's a great way to unplug, especially in our industry where we are so involved with every event. You have to perform on a high level. You have to answer to guests. You have to answer to your vendors and your clients and your planners. I turn off my phone for 3 hours and go jump in the ocean, and I feel very at one with the universe.
Yeah, I love that. I do something similar over here, but there's less sharks, more bears. I like to walk in the woods, on paths, not just anywhere, not randomly, but similar. You get immersed in nature. It's a good thing. Here's what I know. I know that you have been DJing for a long time. You started as a teenager, right?
Started at 14. I was at Manhattan Beach Middle School's local dance, and in came Sean Sedlacek, who ended up being my mentor and great friend, the original owner of Vox DJs, Vox Entertainment in LA. And David, Sean sets up these massive speakers. These speakers were probably 5 feet high. And he had turntables. He had the coffin, old school setup, turntables, vinyl records. And he blew that middle school away. And I remember we were doing probably the electric slide or YMCA. And I remember I asked him, I said, do you get paid to do this? Or is this just because you like to play for me? He goes, this is what I do for a job, man. He's like, get into it. And I remember having that epiphany moment, David. I couldn't believe you get paid to play great music at parties for people. So something clicked there at a young age.
That's okay. So there you are, 14, hearing you
Yeah.
you could make money doing this. Were you already an entrepreneurial kind of kid? Like, were you already into making money in interesting ways? Or is this did that break the mold for you? And you're like, wait, I don't have.
I think I always loved to work. And my whole life I've loved to work and didn't mind working. So paper route when I was a kid for 3 years, loved it, loved folding the papers, getting the papers out. And it was still like that, always that excitement, David, of like, hey, this is kind of fun. And oh my God, they're going to pay me to do it. Like, that's cool. Then I went to Round Table Pizza and I was the cashier and I was like 14, 15, 16. And Round Table Pizza, great experience dealing with customers. But I was just, again, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, oh, they're going to tip me $5 to make them a pizza. That's cool. Like,
But you're also, to be fair, you are also like an energetic, joy-filled guy, seemingly in most everything that you interact with.
Yes, unless I'm on a personal recharge day and I go into a dark room with a fan on and my Netflix on, then I'm just, doing my thing, right?
Man, yeah, but it's good to hear it's good to hear that, I think. But, like, being on and being energetic, do you find that, um do you find that there are certain aspects to working events even now that keep keep you at that same level of energy?
Absolutely. Great question. I mean, for me, I still love to do it. And I still always zoom out, David, at every event and go, they're paying me to play Usher. Yeah. Like, how bad can this be? They're paying me to play I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston and get everybody to sing in a microphone. Like, come on. There's a lot worse things we could be doing, right? Now, am I exhausted at the end of the night and ready to go home and go to bed and recharge? Absolutely. But I'm usually able to elevate to the performance because I love to do it.
I like that. I feel the same way. I feel like, as I've, I'm getting up in my years of performing here, and I think that there are parts of it where I still, setting up, and once people enter the room, once I get around the energy, and the energy starts going back and forth between me and a crowd or me and whoever, oh, it's game over. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to kick it up, and then like you said, end of the night, I'm like
Yes.
done, dunzo, going home.
And I remember when David, when you and I first met, and for your listeners out there, I didn't know you that well at all. And we were at a think tank event in Mexico. And I remember walking into the party where you and Josh Staley were doing a battle, and you were like fired up, like dancing and singing along. And I go, oh, this is David's like, this is his time to shine. You were killing it. It was great. And you and Staley were both like locked in and rocking it. And keep in mind, we're playing for other DJs. So it's a critical crowd. We're all going like, what's this?
Everyone was dehydrated and everyone was, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like 106 degrees at that point. But we were trying to do what was like a silent disco. Uh,
It was so fun, and you did a great job, and you really brought the energy, and it was really cool for me to see that because I had heard of you through business owner world, but that was cool to see you take that hat off and put on performance hat and say, "Let's kill it." And I share that too. There's stuff you got to get through during the week, and then there's performance mode,
yeah, there's
right?
performance KC. And so that's a great segue because, you were performance KC from 14 on
Yeah.
working. So did you work at Vox DJs?
I worked in every capacity at Vox DJs as like a part-time side hustle job for 15 years. I would answer phones, I would do bridal shows, I would DJ anytime Sean would call, and I would train new DJs and have them shadow me. So I was always kind of his right-hand man. I loved it. I loved building that business. But David, let's not forget we're in LA. So I did have stars in my eyes for about 10 years. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, you're listening to a failed actor here. Yes, my full-time job for many years was auditioning for commercials and film projects and TV shows, and it was a rough run because it's that world's tough. You got to get ready for a lot of no's. We're not what you're looking for. You know?
I will push back and I will say that I don't like the term failed actor because the skills you developed auditioning all those times and what
Yes.
you do week in and week out, we talk about it internally. It is acting. You
Yeah.
do have a very vibrant, energetic, joyful personality, but there are days that you're just not feeling it. There's days that that something happened during the week or life happens, and you're like, your skill set as an actor allows you to. I heard this quote the other day, like, you can act into a new way of thinking better than you can think into a new way of acting,
I
right?
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I need to
You
I need to take that. Yeah.
you can, like, do the thing. You can be the thing that you've trained to be as an actor that
Right.
gets you into the right mindset to let your joy and the natural side of you come out. But if you just sat there trying to think your way into it, oh, would never happen. You have to.
And I think that's big for you and I running multi-ops and other people listening running multi-ops is Sometimes you're not going to feel that good going into your event. Sometimes you're not pumped. Sometimes you're sick. Sometimes you're tired. But I have to act like this is the place that I want to be. And I have to go in there and remember this is their one event this year, and let's go deliver what they asked for. And I find, David, if I do that and will myself to get there and set up, then suddenly I'm in the middle of the event and I'm going, I was overthinking it. I'm fine. We're going to get through this. I did want to say, David, because there's some DJs, and you mentioned it, that are listening, that as we get older with the gear, and it's harder. Somebody that's been a game changer in the last 5 years, I have a breakdown guy at every event, pretty much, unless it's out of the ordinary. But pretty much every event, I'm there for setup. I want to check in with the planner. I want to check in with the clients. I want to be visible. I want to perform at a high level, high energy. Let's go. But when that 11 p.m. end time comes, man, I wanna be out of there. And I feel like that saves me. That recharges me. Do I really need to wrap cables till 2 a.m.? Does that have to be me? You know what I mean?
I really could have used that this past week. I did a 2 night in a row event. It went till 12:45, 1 in the morning. It was it was actually like an adjacent corporate event to the Masters and some stuff with the Chamber of Commerce, and I felt it. I was like, okay, I was ended up getting home at 3. Um, okay, so you're working for Vox, do a lot of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Uh, this has been a hot topic, I think, on some of the Facebook groups recently. I've even chimed in, put some comments on it. Like, how sellable is a DJ company? Some people
Right.
like it's not sellable at all. It's just you, and obviously you paid for a DJ company, like you became an owner. Uh,
Yeah.
so it happened. That
I
was
bought it from Sean in 2008. So it for Sean it was sellable because I was willing to buy it. Because I at that point, David, wanted to put my own take on Vox DJs, and I was willing to pay for it. And I always say, luckily, Sean at that point in his career was ready to move on. He actually bought some venues. He now owns venues in Los Angeles. So he became a venue owner. I moved on and said, I just want to keep growing the Vox DJs brand, and I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yeah.
And so I would say though, because you worked there so long, if Sean was the system, you then became the system at some point. Because I worked with you guys in some different capacities. I know that you're not just you. You've got a whole team and you've got multiple locations. So what were some of those first steps that you took to put your own shine on things in '08?
So 2008, I had bought the company from Sean, and now it was mine. And I wanted to do three things right away that I thought were important. One was establish my independence as the new owner of Vox DJs, solidify my relationships with my DJ team, which is my service, my product that I was selling, and then get a office support team help, office admin, sales help, somebody to help me run the business, because I was always that for Sean. So establish independence. We moved from Sean's office in El Segundo to Manhattan Beach and got a little office and a little tiny warehouse. Fun story. I got a broom closet of a corporate office building, and I said, do you mind if I throw 8 DJ systems in this broom closet? And the guy's like, yeah, if you pay for it. I was like, sure, I'll pay for it. So the broom closet ended up becoming our first storage unit warehouse. That was important to establish that independence as Vox DJs. Two is solidifying relationships, because everybody had worked under Sean and me as a deep part of the DJ team. And now Sean was going to be removing himself and moving on. So I wanted to make sure that my team was good, that we sat down, that we got reacquainted on pay, level of expectation, company vision, how we were moving forward, right? Because now I'm the owner, so I need to get their buy-in. And then three was, I can't do it alone, so I'm going to need some help. Made my first hire of Roderick Garland, 2008, great guy from San Jose, California, that entrusted me with his career and said, hey, I've always loved music and to DJ. What are you offering? And I said, hey, this is a multi-op that I've been a part of for many years, but you and me are going to run it now. And we did everything: sales, answering the phones, customer service, gear prep. We had gear prep Thursdays that we do early on Thursday mornings, all of that stuff. But that was still such a fun time because it was really exciting to now be the new owner of Vox DJs.
Okay. So I like all three things. I like that you put your own stamp on it, almost literally, right? You're like
Yep.
putting a new logo on a new building.
Yep.
You have to get tight with the people, I think, because otherwise it's kind of like a captainless ship. And I think there's we again a conversation we've had internally, and I've talked to other multi-app owners about just other business owners. Without absence of clear hierarchy, right? It's hard to know who does what and when and how. So
Right.
you going back and having like reestablishing those relationships is just even if it's as simple as going for coffee or for lunch or whatever, or sit down with everybody, getting everybody to just get on the same page and to start seeing you as the captain of the ship. And that
Yep.
having sales support team. Now, I think it is interesting because if you were in an operational role beforehand, and now you're in more of that CEO role, like you're the owner and even though you're doing some of that stuff, did you find yourself like when you started to maybe pull back even more from the operational stuff, like less gear prep, less sales, less other things, and more visionary stuff? Did you find that hard because you were so used to doing it for so many years?
Yes, and it's a great question. I continue to this day, and even back then, I think I try to do too much and get involved with too much, and it's hard. To the point where I'm still many years later, you know, running the day to day, work a lot. Then I go DJ on Saturdays. And then Sunday, yes, I'm following up with customers and DJs going, how did your event go? It's just what I'm wired and used to, and it's my routine. Is it sustainable forever? Probably not, but I don't know how to do anything else, David. So for me, it always comes out of the passion and the joy of I genuinely care. Like, how do we do on the JP Morgan corporate event on Thursday? I want to know. Did the DJ have fun? Send me a picture. Hey, was the client happy? Give me some feedback. I'm always generally curious to get into that. You know what I mean? And that's part of the operations and the running the company, you know?
Oh, totally. If you could go back in time and make one different move or more, what would be some of those, what may you've done differently if you could?
Um, if I could do it differently back then, let's see. I mean, I don't have a ton of mistakes because everything's such a learning experience, David. And um, basically getting that buy-in, that loyalty from your team has always been a it's I'm very much like a family. I'm the dad, these are my kids, owner. And so, you know, uh, trusting those relationships and protecting those relationships has always been a blessing, but also a curse. Because when guys move on, you can't help but get very sad and take it personally. I get incredibly attached. Like, I love people, I want them to work for me forever. You didn't like it here? Oh no, what did we do wrong? Like, that's going to keep me up at night at 3 a.m. But as I've learned, and it happens through the years, you always learn something from it and try not to take it as personally. So as we've grown through the years and we've blown up into, our biggest year, David, was we did over 5 million in 2017, 2018 of revenue. And I thought that was never possible. And then we've also had the couple steps back with that as well. You're always learning something and pushing forward every day.
And there are, for those of you listening, some of you that listen, and I know that you listen, $5 million in revenue is attainable. Like maybe I know people that listen that have that revenue, level. Other people might think that that's insanely impossible. You just heard Casey say that it is possible. But there are different problems that come with different revenue points. There's different
Yes.
infrastructures that are required at different revenue points. There's different, I've heard Ryan Konikoff talk about and Matt Radicelli at the days of Rock the House when it's
Yes.
just, I don't know where they're at now with revenue, but the things that they had to do for forklift certification and different things in warehouse for different like chemical spills. And I was like, bleh.
Yes.
I was like, I don't bet you
Yes.
any of that. So let me know, what point is it that we have to stop growing to not have to do forklift certification?
And I think that with any company as you grow, and this is like the magic formula that we all are working on and never get right is, when do you stop selling events and booking events and work on operations to support it? And when do you are overloaded with operations and warehouse guys and paying guys to reorganize speakers, but you don't have the business for it? You're always finding that magic mix. And I still don't know what the magic mix is. I'm still figuring it out every week, every year. But I do know that when we were over 5 million in sales during those busy years, David, we were making so many mistakes that me as a proud business owner was very embarrassed of some of the quality that we were putting out, to the point where I had multiple team members. We had conflicts. Some said, keep going. We're killing it. We're everywhere. Right. And I was over here going, guys, time out, time out, time out. We had a DJ not show up at a wedding on Friday because we didn't have our proper SOP in place to book the event, and then that was bad. And that makes the brand look bad. And you're trying to figure out the SOPs that support sales and the sales supports warehouse. And there's always that conflict.
I always use like a Rubik's Cube analogy, right? Because you've got supply and demand. You've got, like you said, you've got your operations, you've got your things, you've got your people in the warehouse, you've got your DJs, you have all this stuff. And then you have the demand. You have like, do people even want to book us? Are we even able to close the deals? Are we the right price point? How are we collecting money? How are we paying people? Like all of that stuff,
Yes.
always moving. And there's market factors and there's recessions and there's great years and there's bad years. It's like politics. So many things influence it. And then there's the personality of the owner and what your risk tolerance is, right? Because some people are way more conservative and there's a lot more fear in growth. And there's other people who are, let's go, and like trying to find, it's like rotating on so many axes that it's hard to know, like people get frozen.
Yes. And David, I'm a sad to admit that right before COVID, I doubled down and took the risk right when I shouldn't have. And we got this beautiful, I got my dream office. And it was 2 stories in this massive office with a huge warehouse. And David, I went all in. This is like my life's dream. I had the cool posters on the wall that said Beat Blender, Mix Mastered, Vox DJs. And it was like powerful. And you walked in and people would come in to interview and be like, this place is so dope. And my dream was like in the showroom, David, live DJ mixing 24/7. Like anytime you walk in, there's a DJ mixing and he's giving shout outs. And we're doing 10 to 20 tours a day of our facility and upselling lighting and photo booth and all of this. And I was right there with it all good. And then COVID hit. A- And I called the owner that we were leasing. We didn't buy, we leased. And I said, how do I get out of this lease? And he said, good luck.
He said you're going to need a lot of breakdown guys.
Yes, exactly. So
Oh, man.
unfortunately, that has made me conservative post COVID as we've gotten out of COVID, because in that example, I took a risk and it didn't pay off. And I was really sad that we eventually closed that Torrance huge, beautiful office a couple years later. But there's other risks that we've taken that have paid off. And just like anything in life, you got to be willing to put some risks out there and take some chances, right?
Yes, sir. I think knowing when to change something you've been doing
Yes.
is like the hardest thing. Like, how long do you continue to do a marketing initiative? How long do you continue to keep your prices at this?
Yes.
How long do you train somebody? Like, or how do you know? No one ever knows.
Right.
I think it's always kind of like you just do the best you can. Clearly, you
Yes.
had some missteps in the past and some failures, or I would just call them learning opportunities. But you're still here. You're still kicking, and Vox DJs is still a great brand. Um, and that should be inspirational for everyone listening. That a few like obstacles doesn't mean it's the end. Doesn't mean it's you're done. You got to lead with that positive energy.
Yep. 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. I mean, for me, it's just every day try to put your all into it. And I think Hopefully my team sees that. And at the end of the day, they go, this guy's trying at least his hardest every day to do his best for the company, you know?
Um, a question that I think a lot of people listening would want to ask you, if I could guess, it
Okay.
when you throw a revenue number like that out, even with the problems and the things that went on with it, is this word of mouth? Is this marketing initiatives? Is this, Google AdWords? How are you generating enough demand to have to generate that supply?
Great question. To generate that demand was years of relationships hitting, and they all hit like, my dad, my late father, was always a big gambler, and he's like, it's all about when the money hits at the right time. And so for me, I had 15 years of developing relationships with the Marriott and the Hilton and local venues and wedding planners and event planners. And suddenly we had enough DJs and variety where we were just the go-to, you know? And that all just started to pay off where we were the guys, and we had the office infrastructure to support the sales, to book that event, to then get operations out the door, to have the DJ the event and the lighting, etc. So that was the sweet spot there, where just these years of relationships. Now keep in mind, our mantra here is say yes to everything, and that's always been big with me, is like every event's an opportunity. And it might seem like a dinky showcase event on a Sunday afternoon, but you never know who you're going to meet. One of our biggest clients that introduced me to so many celebrity events here in LA, I met at a bridal show on a Sunday at 3 o'clock, rubbing the sleep out of my eyes after DJing a wedding till 3 a.m. But I rallied, and I was there with our sign up. And me and this lady, Michelle, just hit it off standing at the bridal show. And I didn't send anybody else to the bridal show. I was there at the bridal show, and I had a DJ spinning behind me, right? But me and her hit it off, and that led to 30 events that were high profile and great. Say yes to everything. Everything's the opportunity. Hey, we have a menu tasting. Yes, we're in. Hey, we have a showcase. Yes, we're in. Now, these days, I've learned, David, to always ask, cool, how many people are coming, to make sure their people are coming? Yeah. And can we be the featured DJ? Because if we're going to be there, we want to be all in on the stage doing it. Please don't stick us in the back patio in the corner. If we're going to be there for free, let's maximize our opportunity. But say yes to everything. Everything's an opportunity to go out, meet people, do business, right? Nugget of the day, baby. Nugget of the day.
Let's go. Man, I've heard the stories like that time and time again from folks in our industry, folks out of our industry. It's the people who show up. And when I say show up, I don't mean just physically. I mean like you bring like passion and excitement, and you just bring uh what people are really wanting. Like you're making people feel good, and you're doing it with every interaction, every time. That's what creates opportunity.
Yep.
Dave Landers got a great story about how he ended up being the DJ for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's similar. It was like outside of the stadium, just doing some, like a tailgate for someone, and just the right person happened to walk by and was like, "Hey, we're looking for a new DJ." I love hearing stuff like that. They got celebrity level events from a Sunday afternoon bridal show.
Yeah, and that's an example of like David's such a talented digital Dave, right? He's such a talented DJ with so much years of experience that right when he was there outside of the stadium, and it may not have been the featured event, somebody recognized that talent, that years of experience, that swagger. I know I've seen it at bridal shows and stuff and been very impressed by him. So somebody saw that and was like, you're coming with me to this. And that's such a rewarding feeling. That feeling is the best feeling as a business owner and as a DJ. Somebody recognizing your talent and saying, I see you here. Now I want to bring you over here and introduce you to these clients. You know what I mean? That always feels good.
I think the common thing that I hear you saying is that you are consistently showing up and consistently, like the success that Vox had those years and continues to have now is the result of just pounding the pavement, man. Like going to the networking events, showing up, shaking hands, bringing gifts, like consistently being there and like delivering that energy to these relationships so that when the as you said, when the money hits, right,
Yes.
lightning can strike more than once.
Right. One of our biggest opportunities came from a donated event for Bravo TV, where we then met the Real Housewives of Orange County producer. And now we've done like 7 episodes of Real Housewives of Orange County where we did different parties in the background and different weddings and events. That was all through a donated event. And I always feel like I hear a lot of DJs at Mobile Beat and, Mobile Beat used to be Mobile Beat, etc., saying, oh, well, I only go out if they pay my highest rate, and I only go out if they're for me, I was there as the owner to be there because I said there might be an opportunity here and I'm going to recognize that. And I'm going to go lead it with 1,000% energy. I'm going to be all in. I'm going to be happy to be there. I'm not going to complain ever while I'm there. And let's hope that I meet somebody there. And sure enough, the Bravo producer was there and she goes, "Hey, I'm doing a wedding for one of the ladies at Real Housewives of Orange County, Tamara Barney. Do you want to be the featured DJ on the show?" I did Eddie Judge and Tamara Barney's wedding on Bravo TV, and I'll still get text messages to this day where people many years later will be like, "Is this you, bro? I think I just saw you on TV making an announcement at a wedding."
The people that are the most visible get the most opportunities.
There
You go. Say
There you
it
go.
for the people in the back. Am I right? Okay, so let's if you were not familiar with Casey before this podcast episode, you can see, well, you can hear, if you're just listening, you can hear his vibrant energy and the personality that absolutely plays a role in business success. But I think the most useful thing is that you're playing into your strengths. Like, not everyone has to have your personality to be successful in our industry. They just have to play into their own strengths. You've capitalized on your joyfulness and your relationship building and everything that's made you special. You've been able to scale that out at Vox DJs and created something pretty remarkable out there on the West Coast.
Yes, thank you. And I think when we're hiring and looking for other talent, my biggest thing, David, and you'll agree with this, is attitude is everything. I can never handle a negative attitude or I'd rather be somewhere else or this job sucks or I'm sick or this work sucks. Attitude leads. And if you go in and you're willing to have a good attitude, good things will happen. And I love that quote. We teach it in our DJ classes is 10 things that require zero talent. Right, David? You've seen that before. 10 things that require zero talent. And the first thing on that list is having a good attitude. And then it says things like being on time and, being coachable, etc. All those things are so important. And those are the key things that I'm looking for. I'm never looking for the most talented DJ that's amazing, that, is the coolest guy in town, because I usually find it's hard to find that guy, but he's also humble and willing to be coachable. You know what I mean? And if you do find that, that's rare and that's awesome, and snatch him up and get him on your roster, you know?
Yep. Well, we've had tremendous success with finding great people, and then a percentage of those really great people who, I'm gonna use your term again, like as the money hits, happen to also be really talented, and then they grow into being rock star talent. Um,
Yes.
and that we have a really rich roster now of really incredible DJs. I think because they all started as great people. We're coachable, we're disciplined, persistent, stuck with it, and
Yeah.
push themselves to grow.
I love it. And something that I've wanted to make sure to address is that people out there know that I'm a huge fan of Blueprint and I'm signed up for Blueprint, but I've been shy, as David knows, to actually pull the trigger and implement it. And that is because I love the curriculum and I love that it's laid out in the videos and the training. But I'm a little discouraged these days, a couple years later, with training and recruiting and recruiting, hiring, training so many DJs that I feel like we're really pushing them along to get their inner rock star out, but then to have them cut out and start their own thing the minute they get that sign of success. In the old days, that didn't happen. They were loyal to us. They knew that we were the ones that were in charge of booking them a ton of events, right? And I love that because I had great relationship. Hey, this DJ should do this one. This should do this one. Now, as everybody has Instagram and Facebook, they're able to market themselves and say, "Yeah, I'm kind of with Vox DJs, but just book me if you want to book me." You know what I mean? What do you have to say about that?
Well, first I would ask you, are your DJs 1099s or W-2s?
W-2s.
Interesting. Okay. Uh,
Yes.
Secondly, I think, there is something to be said about being in LA and the mindset of folks in LA. You said it yourself, you were an aspiring actor.
Don't talk trash about LA. You're gonna have a lot of enemies
A lot of people with big dreams and big dreams of being on stage in a big way.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's what I mean is that a lot of, you're dealing with a demographic of people in your city that are many of which are reaching for the stars just inherently, just because they live near Hollywood and that's just a thing.
Right.
So like, my first thing would probably just be to like looking into ways to pivot into a business model where you could capitalize on that or partner with some of the folks that are going off on their own
Yes.
in some way like that. But
Somebody's business model who I love is SCE with Jason Jani. And just saw a post yesterday. They did new company pictures. Does a really good job at elevating his particular DJ members to make them feel like rock stars within the SCE brand. Have you checked that out at all, David?
I saw that come through the old Instagram.
I was really impressed by that. I thought, good job. Like, these guys are all rock stars, but every one of them was tagging SCE and saying, I'm proud to be associated with this brand. Um, that's my negative Nancy comment of the day, David. I want to make sure I stay positive, and I will take away a lesson that my mom has to continuously tell me every week. My mom, KC Campbell, the best business advisor ever, but she always says, just be appreciative of the 30 DJs that you have that love you and are there with you and are excited to be a part of the journey with you, and try not to hold it so personally when other DJs say, I'm going to go move on and do my own thing. It's okay. You have 30 great guys that you can really be proud of and appreciative of. Don't focus on the ones that, why did this guy do this and why did this guy do that? You know what I mean?
I like Kathy. What I was going to say before I try to have a smart answer about your town and about business structure,
It's very true, by the way. It's very
which
true.
is which is the idea of just letting them, and yeah, I think it's more on the personal development side of things where you just have to be okay with people leaving, and presenting that energy to them from the beginning that like more people will come. I live in a town that's abundant with talent and opportunity. When you leave, someone else is going to come back ahead of you because we're so strong with our standard operating procedures. We're so strong in our brand that you can leave, go on. I wish you best of luck. I love you, but someone else is about to take your job.
Yeah, there you go. Two mentors in my life that have helped me with that, just like you're saying, are Matt Radicelli and Ricky Hayes, who ran the business with me for 7 years. Ricky's recently moved on to manage a theater in LA, and we're super happy for him. But Ricky and Matt would always just say, just focus on making Vox DJs awesome. Just focus on making that experience from recruiting, hiring, how they get paid, the events that they work, what's expected. Make that awesome, and that'll be attractive, and people will want to work for you. Stop worrying about the external things where people are getting pulled away by the other stuff. Just make this awesome, and it'll all work out. And I like that.
You've been at a billion wedding ceremonies. How many times have you heard the officiant say, don't focus on finding the right partner, focus on being the right partner?
I love it. Yes, exactly. And then
That's what
David, that's usually me in the back with tissues because I do cry at every wedding, getting ready to play Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder when they're done. That's the right at that moment, right?
right at that moment.
Yes.
Well, Casey, this has been an incredible journey, incredible conversation. I'm actually a little bit jealous. I want to go surfing now, so we're gonna have to make this happen.
Guys, everybody listening out there, David is coming out west and he's gonna shred the gnar, and we're gonna post a picture of it. You are gonna shred the gnar, baby.
Oh my
Let's go!
God. Tell everybody how they can find you online.
My name is KC Campbell with Vox DJs. We are at Vox DJs, and check out our website to see our awesome roster of talent.
Thank you so much, KC, for being a great guest. And thanks for all your energy, sir.
I'm going to end it with my mantra, David. Whatever happens, your toes are still tapping.